As promised, in studio, our Ag Commissioner Mike Strain joins us. Commissioner Strain, welcome back, man. How are you?
Hey, man, I am great. I tell you what they say, spring has sprung.
It has.
And, and thank goodness I think we're past that last freeze. That one was a little bit of a shocker. Nobody was expecting
Can
it.
we start there? Is that going to have any effect on anything?
Well, yes, actually. What happened is that we had such good weather, and it was drying up, it was warming up, and so a lot of farmers went ahead and planted crops.
Okay.
And so we got, literally thousands of acres of corn and beans that were put in the ground, early. So they were planting it 2 to 3 weeks early. Now, some of the corn that got up 5 or 6 inches, and when we're looking at, we're hoping that it's not going to hurt it too bad. We had some corn and beans that were up like 1 inch, and so you may lose those entire fields and have to go back and replant.
Oh,
them.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, but that's when you plant early, trying to get a head start, get ahead of the market. That's a risk. Farming is a risk.
Well, yeah.
And so, but that, and of course, some of the other things that we did, lose a few plants. But the good news is that in this part of the world, especially, south of Alexandria, it just kind of dipped down to 26 and went back up.
Yeah.
It didn't stay with a hard freeze. I mean, it was fast.
Yeah.
About 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's 55 degrees. Next day, it's 80. And so we're very fortunate to that, and I don't think it's going to have a lot of effect unless your crops are at that very, very vulnerable stage. Now, if you look out there, what you see across the state, you see machinery moving. As we say, you see dust a flying, which means we're all out there. That's just a word we use. But getting everything in the ground. We're seeing a lot of early rice being planted right now. We're seeing draining of crawfish fields.
Okay.
Ponds being, and we're getting rice, corn, beans, cotton. Everything's going in the ground, and we're really excited about the potential for where we are going. We're looking for a good season. I think we're going to have some mild weather. If you look at the rain patterns, they've been pretty good. And
Well,
so,
I'm sorry. You said crawfish fields being drained
drained. Yes, you have to.
right now?
Yes, sir.
I mean, well, we're not done with crawfish season yet.
No, sir. So, but
How's that work?
well, the problem is, about 2 weeks ago, there was some relatively bad economic news that went out across America, talking about raising of interest rates, and also at the same time talking about inflation. And what happened is that less people were going to the restaurants. Less people went to the restaurants started ordering less crawfish from the farmers. And so there's a tipping point on every crawfish farm whether or not that field is viable. And so if you look at, what they can harvest, what they sell, and so if some of the restaurants were telling crawfish farmers, just bring in half of what you normally bring in. We saw that a few months ago in the shrimping industry the same way, because if you look at the majority of fresh shrimp, fresh crawfish, they're consumed in restaurants. And so that immediate, if you look at, so what happens and what the media talks about, what happens in the economy has a tremendous effect on consumer confidence. So what's happening is that if those crawfish ponds, if they, quote, had started playing out, or if there just wasn't sufficient order, that farmer will go ahead and drain those ponds. He'll keep some of them. He'll drain those and go ahead and get those in rice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
that's...
you've seen a decrease in, now crawfish prices haven't crashed, down. They've come down, but they haven't crashed because, again, the supply has been limited, been following demand. Instead of having a massive oversupply and demand, they went ahead and just drained the ponds.
What's the breaking point there where the price is no longer, like, how low could the price go early to make it still worthwhile to go out and harvest?
Well, now it's a combination of you've got to have a place to go with them. So when you harvest those crawfish, right, they go straight to the fresh market. Now, if they are not sold in the fresh market within about 3 days because they're kept refrigerated, they've got to be peeled.
Right.
Right. And so, but if you don't have an avenue to get that, you can't harvest them. That's the whole key. So they're harvested basically on demand. And if the demand drops dramatically in a very short term, it's not like you can bring more to the peeling plants because they're doing all they can do.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have an issue with peeling plants as well because of the H2A, H2B, the guest worker issues that we're dealing with, which are severe. I got a call, yesterday from one of my crab plants that he can't get his workers.
Yeah.
So that this whole thing, the way the federal government is operating, especially in regards to guest workers, returning guest workers, that all adds into that. So the bottom line is, if you look at ball crawfish this week, right now are about $4.29 a pound. Raw, they're probably around $3.29. Now they'll pop back up as we get into Palm Sunday and the week of Easter, right?
Yeah, and then they'll taper off quickly.
They'll taper off quickly.
So, and that's what I was asking was, would the possibility of them being post-Easter prices now cause more in like the restaurant world, but 'cause crawfish were now where they are after Easter. How many people will be hosting their own boils every weekend? You know,
Right, right.
so
And
would
so
that go up?
I think you're going to see crawfish after Easter. I think you're going to see them live less than $3.
Okay.
Right there, there. And so I think you'll have a lot of people just buying crawfish. But I think what you're going to see is that the crawfish season is going to end a little earlier. It's not going to go out until late June, July. I
Okay.
think it's going to be more earlier June for several reasons. One is, again, when you look at the tipping point, whether or not it is the price of the crawfish makes it viable to continue to keep that field in crawfish, or you go ahead and drain it and get your rice growing.
Mhm.
Remember, the majority of the crawfish are grown; they're aquaculture. We
Right.
get them, you get wild caught, which is about 10%, but the majority is farmed. And
Yeah.
so if you look at, we do about $250 million, $250 million in farmed crawfish
Mhm.
per year. And so as you look at the tipping point, they also look at the harvest. Now, early on, we had some pretty tough weather going into last year, right? October, November,
Yep.
December last year. What that did, that affected the vegetative matter that the crawfish feed on, causing the vegetative matter to break down faster, which means what the crawfish feed on will basically run out before you get into late June. So you'll probably be May and June. So
Okay.
I think that's going to have an effect on shortening the season.
Mhm.
So the bottom line is, if you want to eat some crawdadders, you better get them. And
Yeah.
if you want to have your big crawfish boil, your post-Easter crawfish boils,
Mhm.
don't wait too long,
Okay.
right? Because they're going to get harder to get as we go.
And Commissioner Mike Strain is our guest. Hey, from the rice end of that, is there a benefit to getting started early? Like,
Absolutely.
what
Yeah,
what what are
absolutely.
the advantages there? Because I would imagine the calendar plays itself out the way the calendar plays itself out.
When you look at this, when the weather conditions are right,
Mhm.
and so when you get your rice in, remember we have two harvests of rice. So when you have the first harvest, then you have the ratoon, second crop. So if the weather conditions are right and optimal for rice, it's time to plant, because that's we're looking at probably overall getting 8,000+ pounds of rice per acre. And that's in two harvests.
That's a stupid number.
Oh, it's incredible. Well, yeah. You know what it is in Cuba?
What?
2,000 pounds an acre in
Really?
Cuba. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And where we're headed towards 12, 14, 16,000 pounds of rice
You're
per
setting up
acre.
to brag on LSU here. I know you are.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I've been spending a lot of quality time here. Believe it or not, I'm on the part of the search committee for the new
Mhm.
chancellor of the LSU Ag Center, and the dean of the College of Agriculture, the vice president of the College of Agriculture.
Okay.
So we were Dr. Matt Lee last night, and one of the three candidates, and that's a very intense project. But when you look at the LSU Rice Research Station in Crowley, it is the preeminent rice research station in the world.
Yes, it is.
In the world. And tremendous, constantly new varieties. And Dr. Steve Linscomb, and really, the man's a genius. He spent his whole life dedicated. We talk about Norman Borlaug saving 1 billion people. I think when it's said and done, Steve Linscomb is going to be in that same category for his work in rice. But the way the rice research works is that you have state tax dollars to the Ag Center. You also have private dollars voluntarily that are assessed by the rice farmers every year. And it's, in a tune of $1.5 to $2 million a year. And that's on the research side every year,
Mhm.
right? But most commodities, we have a voluntary assessment, which means we collect it when they sell the product, but they can get their money back if they don't want to participate. And that's why we have the preeminent sweet potato research station in the world, preeminent rice research station in the world, and the preeminent sugarcane research stations in the world. Now, the government isn't involved in collecting the sugar assessments. The mills do that. But those dollars go in, and so they're constantly developing new varieties, new technology, new advancements. And if you have you ever been to a rice research field day?
I have not.
Well, or the sugarcane research. One of the field days is here at St. Gabriel at the sugar station. You need to go.
Okay.
Because you'll spend a half a day
Mhm.
or more. So you get there, start about 8 o'clock in the morning, to go to about 2 in the afternoon. And you'll do field tours. They talk about the new varieties, what they mean, what's going on, and all the different studies. And then you come in, and you'll have some very, very, very pointed lectures that are about the crops and the research and the new things that are going on. So it brings the data, the science, technology, and data directly from the lab to the farmer. There's no gap. And that's another great thing. And that's why, you're looking at, 8,000 pounds of rice per acre. Or if you look at sugar's over 8,000 pounds of sugar per acre. If you go back 30 years, it was, 6,000 pounds. We have increased our production from 1960 to today.
Mm-hmm.
In about 63 years, we've increased production of food fourfold, fourfold in the United States. We've only doubled the amount of inputs, fertilizer, water, et cetera, that we use. And so what we're trying to get in the next 30 years is to triple the production we have now. And I mean, that's
triple now, not go back to where we were.
And so if you think about 8,000 pounds, you know, my goal is I want to have 24,000 pounds of rice per acre every year consistently. And you say, well, that's not possible. Well, yeah, it is. It is possible with science, innovation, technology, you know, all the many things. If you look at, for instance, I was at Bayer. Bayer has they're informatics. Bayer is a seed company. They're a chemical company, but they're also a huge agricultural company. If you look at, DuPont, what is DuPont? DuPont's a seed company now.
Okay.
And so, seeds are more valuable than gold, ounce by ounce, right? Think about seeds, the value of those seeds and where we're headed and the value. Look at, if you look at sugar, right now sugar's doing pretty well. It's about 40 cents a pound, what we call raw sugar, raw.
Okay.
And at about 8,000 pounds an acre, right? All right? So
okay.
it's $3,200 an acre. Now, multiply that by three.
By three.
By three. So now you're at about $9,000, $9,000 per acre per year. I mean, that's where we're going with agriculture. It's big business and it's exciting, but it's science, innovation, application, technology. Go crawl in a cab of one of those big new tractors. You'll be amazed. It's all, all glass panel, all digital, and it's all, GPS, tremendous technology.
And Commissioner Mike Strain is our guest. So tripling from that, you'd be up to $27,000 an acre, over $27,000 an acre, which, I mean, that's...
If you look at, and why do we have to do it? The whole world has doubled its production.
Right.
The whole world can't do that. So in order to do that, we in the United States, because we're the largest exporter of food in the world, 20% of the food that's exported to the world comes from the United States, 10% comes from the Ukraine grain. So if you look at what's happening around the world, most of the third world countries, they have increased their production by putting more land into cultivation. Well, there's no more land, so that's out.
Okay.
And so
you got to get more out of the land that you have.
That's exactly right.
Because it is a finite commodity, yes.
Sustainable. In other words, every year the land must be better than the year before. And so it's like you can't just go in there and rob the nutrients out of the ground. You have to, quote, focus on soil health, long-term sustainability, because at that rate of production, there's what the difference is between dirt and soil?
No.
Dirt's what's under your fingernails.
Okay.
Soil's out what you grow crops in.
Okay.
It's living, it's breathing, it's dynamic, and we have to really cultivate and utilize and protect that.
We're going to push pause for just a minute. Got a break for news. We'll take news, traffic. We'll look at our weather as well. When we come back, we still have a lot to talk about. We haven't talked honeybees yet, and we haven't talked about the note for me says Jazzy Strawberry at Red Stick Farmers Market. I don't know what a Jazzy Strawberry
is. You don't know
is.
Jazzy? I'll see if I can get you a picture of Jazzy Strawberry.
Jazzy Strawberry. We're going to talk about
pictures of Jazzy Strawberry. I need to know what this is, too.
I thought Jazzy was the descriptor, not a first name. So we'll talk about that next. Right now, it's 8:30 at Talk 107.3 FM. We'll start with ABC before getting our local news, traffic, and weather. Coming back, Ag Commissioner Mike Strain in the house next. Oh, yeah, Jen sent over Jazzy Strawberry at the Red Stick Farmers Market. And,
that's Jazzy.
Oh, that is Jazzy. That is Jazzy.
Yep, that's Jazzy. It's a strawberry festival.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, Jazzy Strawberry. Yes. The official mascot of Louisiana Strawberries, Jazzy Strawberry.
So we'll start with Jazzy Strawberry, and I want to get to the Louisiana Healthy Food Retail Initiative,
okay,
as well. And then if we have time, if I can keep you all the way till 9, that last 4 minutes, we'll talk honeybees. But the Healthy Food Retail Initiative, I find vital.
It is, and it's something we've been really working at for a number of years.
As anybody who's ever been on any diet will tell you if you sit at the perimeter of the grocery store is where the healthy stuff is. You get in the middle of the grocery store, that's where the processed stuff is. But that's also where the cheap stuff is.
Mm-hmm.
I can feed my family for a month off of what I could feed my family for a week. So this
You're
is
right.
Jazzy Strawberry.
Yeah.
Hmm? Softball's now 1 o'clock. Yes. I said. Hey, kill the mics for a second. Uh, Patrick says, when are Facebook users going to be allowed to post messages on that screen behind me? Back here? Um, if we had the right software, it could just be on the screen.
Yeah.
It could be a rolling feed on the screen for the broadcast. I wouldn't want to do that though, and
That could get dangerous.
well, no. Here's the thing: there's latency, and there's people who post after the fact, and it would affect it.
Right.
There's also, if I want to pull a segment to repurpose back to YouTube, like what we do with this one, when we're doing that would throw that off, and the disjointed times that the chat is not in lockstep with the topic.
Because some people come in late.
Right.
And like are trying to
Right.
catch up.
Like we could be talking about Jazzy Strawberry and they're still talking about the Barry Gibb talk show.
Yeah.
So.
Which was great. Great and terrible.
Oh, yeah. If you didn't hear us singing like our own Bee Gees. That crawfish thing frustrates me. I studied economics in school, so it's kind of befuddling.
So if you remember, about 2 months ago, everything's going good, and all of a sudden there was real bad economic news, and shrimp went from $2 to 75 cents on the boat. Remember that?
I don't. I wish I'd known about
because
that.
what
I've been
happened?
all over shrimp.
Well, because the restaurants said don't send it because they immediately lost that market. And so if you look at what's happening with right now, a lot of people are on edge. Things are tight. Everybody, they watch everything, and just a little bit of bad news tanks, those things that are considered luxuries.
Yeah.
And I mean just big time. Walmart, Walmart, the reason they're trying to sell groceries as cheap as they can to get people back in to buy clothing. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because, yeah. And so, but a lot of things, people hinge now on every word coming, on CNN and Fox News.
I know. And yeah, your consumer confidence, that part of it I get.
That consumer confidence.
My wonder is there a sweet spot where prices can bottom, we can all benefit without having to completely shut it down?
Well, no, wait, you don't understand. The market runs out on crawfish. I mean, it's a time thing.
Yeah.
Right? So what there is, and the farmers know, they'll know that they've got to harvest so many sacks a day to justify the labor and the transport and the price. And
right.
For every farm, it's a little different, but so, as long as you're in that, that $2 a pound, they're doing fine, but they've got to have a demand, a place to go. And so
so
the crawfish industry is large as it is now, requires that the restaurants be serving a lot of crawfish. I mean, it's part of the drill. Does that make sense?
Yes. Let me drop my weather in here.
Weather now before the bump.
Yeah.
Go.
All right, time to get a look at your forecast, and the long and the short of it is rain for the next 4 days. We've got a 60% chance of rain today, 45% chance of rain tomorrow, 70% chance of rain on Sunday, 85% chance of rain on Monday. Actually, for that matter, another 70% chance of rain on Tuesday as well. The rain will eventually bring through cooler temperatures, but as it stands right now, it's just causing a mess to the sports schedule. LSU baseball moving from 7 p.m. up to noon for the first pitch today. Noon first pitch over on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. LSU softball, which you will find right here on Talk 107.3 FM, has moved up their first pitch as well. They're in Oxford, Mississippi. Oxford not far enough away to be separated from our current weather system, so that's been moved up as well. I believe 1 p.m. is now the first pitch for today's game that you'll hear right here on Talk 107.3. Meanwhile, LSU women's basketball is indoors. While that had a rain delay the last time they were in Greenville, South Carolina, hopefully it won't be this time. You'll find LSU women's basketball 4 p.m. on our sister station, 100.7 The Tiger. Back to the forecast. Your high today is 86. Your low tonight, 69. We top out at 87 tomorrow, 81 on Sunday, 80 on Monday. After that is when the current rain knocks down the temperatures. High on Tuesday is 70. Overnight low Tuesday into Wednesday is 56. Right now, we're cloudy and 71 in downtown Baton Rouge. .838 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Ag Commissioner Mike Strain in the house. We're just continuing the conversation here, but we do need to shift topics for just a minute. We've got like 7 or 8 more things to talk about before we're all done. Commissioner Strain, I want to move over to a different topic, kind of a more, I don't want to say a more serious topic, because everything we talk about has real world, real life, you and me repercussions. This isn't high-minded politics. This isn't Congress arguing over TikTok. This is what we literally consume.
Well, that's, in our agency, that's where the rubber meets the road,
yes.
Right? Or the tractor hits the field.
Right.
So we're involved in many things. Our agency is the largest regulatory agency in the state. We oversee more than $100 billion in commerce. We're actively involved in economic development, rural economic development. We work hand in hand, with the governor's office, with the legislature, with our federal delegation. So there are many things that we do. And one of the things that we do, we administrate dollars, a lot of federal dollars and state dollars, through what's called the Louisiana Agricultural Finance Authority. And so, that is the mechanism where, programs and grants and all these things are created. And, we have dispensed probably between $150 and $200 million since I've been there, and it can be everything from Gustav and Ike or federal monies coming in, for instance. We help shrimpers. And we help, fishermen, put refrigerators on their boats. We do a whole lot of things because we have the ability and the mechanism to administrate dollars. And we do that not only for our agency, we do it for other agencies as well.
We're talking with Ag Commissioner Mike Strain. Well, speaking of a number of the things you do, I want to talk a little bit about the Louisiana Healthy Food Retail Initiative, what this means, why it's important, and what's coming up with it.
And this began, the Louisiana Healthy Food Retail Initiative began in 2013 by an act of the legislature. And so looking at food deserts, how do we get, and reopen, grocery stores and other things in the, quote, food deserts? Food deserts exist in the deep urban area and the deep rural area as well. And what you find in the deep rural and deep urban areas is that groceries cost more. The produce isn't as fresh. And so generally, the poorer the people, the more they pay. Because, number one, they got to get to a grocery store. And so what this is designed for is those areas that are food deserts, in other words, where there's no regional grocery store in the area, a design where there is a low-interest loan program that we can help them. And often it's cobbled with many other things. One of the ones we did some time ago was the Circle in New Orleans. And the latest one we did is Canseco's Market, and it's on Fillmore Street in Gentilly. And so we can help them with those low-interest loans and other programs through the Agricultural Finance Authority, funded by the state legislature or wherever else we can get those dollars to either reopen or open or remodel and have, fresh, and the idea is fresh products, healthy products, and at an affordable price. Because if not, what happens in the very poor areas, the produce is it doesn't last as long. It's at a higher price.
Right.
So it's about healthy eating, but it's also we know directly, and we've looked at studies. There are a number of studies, both done by Tulane and by Harvard Medical and others, and they would do an overlay to look at food deserts. Then they look at the overall health of the community, and then they tie that to social issues, and it's the same map. And so, yeah, again, it's about community, it's about healthy diets, and it's about trying to maintain that community. So, and it's alone. And if we can get grants, we'll do grants as well. But it really makes a difference. Without this program, for instance, this store would not have opened up in Gentilly,
Right.
or we couldn't have rebuilt the Circle in New Orleans. Now, we've also looked at facilities in the areas of North Baton Rouge as well. And so if we can get money from the legislature, one-time money,
Mhm.
right, and it goes to the finance authority, goes into a numbered account, and we do that. So it's a very good program.
Well, and it's so from a Baton Rouge standpoint, because we've talked about this a million times in Baton Rouge with our food desert and how there are efforts to shrink it. I don't know if the topic will ever go away, but this is this constant battle of getting food to people and getting people to food.
And it's a constant battle as well as to get businesses
Mhm.
to go into the underserved area,
Right.
Because
because
there's got to be a commitment on that business to say, look, I'm going to come there.
Mhm.
I know this is not a high profit area. I know this is not a high volume area, but we're going to serve this community.
Right.
And you got to have that type of commitment as well.
Well, and I've often wondered if there's room for effort to just straight up grow there. Is it? I know urban farming's a hot term. Is it a viable term?
Well, it is. Urban farming is a viable term. And one of the things that we're really excited about, I think you're seeing more and more push to that, small gardens, small community gardens, but also small backyard gardens.
Yeah.
And so, a big initiative, and I tell them, just get started. Go ahead and grow some tomatoes. And once you do that, it's like me and honeybees. I'm a beekeeper. I'm a gardener.
I'm out, by the way.
Next
visit. I'm out, by the way. It's the honey. You brought some honey.
You're out. I got it. Okay, next visit, I'll remember to bring you some honey.
I really appreciate that.
Because it's time that I go ahead and check my bees, once I get back from bee school this week.
Shamelessly soliciting gifts over
quite
here.
All right. That's quite all right. Honey's good for you.
Yes,
and I tell you, I've been excited. Everybody gets all upset. They said, man, look at this pollen. I said, man, isn't that great? What? That spring is sprung, right? When you see all that pollen.
My nose is stopped up. My eyes are running.
Yeah, and my bees are so happy. They are second lining on the front of their hives. And I'm not making that up now. If you ever, if you're
I've seen it with the parasols and everything. Really tiny parasols.
They're out there doing the wiggle waggle dance on the front. And actually what they're doing, they're using pheromones to draw maps. So that's an actual thing that they do. Okay. Yeah, that's how they tell the other bees where the nectar is. But pollen is a pure food, pollen and nectar. And I know my bees are busy. I'll be watching them, and you see them coming in loaded with pollen.
That's awesome.
And so it is awesome. And you'll have different honeys.
You see so many problems from around the country about the lack of that, the lack of bees, or like the reduction in population of bees.
We're working on that. We're trying to get more beekeepers. And, we have more than 400 beekeepers now here in Louisiana. And I'm over beekeeping. I'm, ahead of the apiary division, there. And so it is exciting, but it's also, beekeeping is there's a lot of science involved in keeping bees. They're very, very complicated.
It's intimidating.
It is. And I keep studying, I keep learning and figuring out what I'm doing right, what I'm not doing right. But the fun thing is, right now, the honey that's being made from this pollen will be different than the honey from the summer or the honey in the fall, because it just depends on what they're harvesting from. I have some honey made when
flavor?
Absolutely. Of course it does. Yes, and I've got some honey, and it's very, very, very yellow because they were eating. I let my mustard greens grow till they were like 7 feet tall, and they have a huge flower with lots of honey, and those bees are just packing that stuff in. So when you taste the honey, it tastes like mustard greens. You can really taste that. So it does have a huge effect on your honey.
That is awesome.
Right, now, see, some of the honey you buy commercially, right, it's been filtered. Yeah, it's been filtered. They filter all that out. I don't filter my honey. You get what the bees bring you, what the bees bring you, right?
I love that. Well, but that's also what's healthiest.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, because pollen is a very, very, very good food product.
We got Ed Commissioner Mike Strain in the house. The Healthy Food Retail Initiative not going to go away. I do want to take some time because I've been teasing it all morning. The note, so I get some notes saying, some of the things we can talk about. We talk about a million other things, but one of the notes said, and this is all it said: Jazzy Strawberry at Red Stick Farmers Market this Saturday. Visit your local farmers market. That's what it said.
Absolutely.
Jazzy
That's
Strawberry.
Jazzy Strawberry. And that is a creation of, we have the Strawberry Research and Promotion Board.
Uh-huh.
That is funded by an assessment on strawberries, as well as we get other dollars to complement that. But that's our official mascot, Jazzy. Jazzy's there to get those kids of all ages excited and to promote strawberries. Strawberries are healthy.
Mm-hmm.
They're nutritious.
Mm-hmm.
They're full of vitamins and minerals. And look, Louisiana strawberries are the finest in the world. How you know you got a Louisiana strawberry? Well, it says so on the side of the box, and when you cut it, it's red all the way through. That's the great time. And here we are at Easter time.
Mm-hmm.
It's strawberry time.
Yeah, it is.
We're going to have the Strawberry Festival very soon. And again, there's nothing fun. And look, I've been eating a lot of strawberries. But think about it. You need to get some strawberries and make sure they're certified Louisiana strawberries, for salads. And I tell you what I like to do. I'll take that pint of strawberries and I'll put them in the freezer. And I'll freeze them.
Yeah.
And I'll eat them frozen.
Really?
Try that.
All right.
You can remember eating ice cream with strawberries in it.
Yeah.
You can just eat the strawberries, the frozen strawberries.
We got this cool thing at the house where you put frozen fruit into it and it makes its own ice cream, like strawberries and bananas together. Yeah.
Oh,
It's called Yonanas.
Yonanas
is what it's called. We got one.
Just take those frozen strawberries at night. Instead of grabbing for that other snack that may not be healthy, right? Yeah, eat those strawberries. They are, how you say, they are really, really good.
You know what we need to do next time you're on? And I'll bring the strawberries in, but I'll bring some Louisiana and I'll bring some like Costco, whatever strawberries
California
as well.
Berries?
Yeah.
Keep the California berries on the other side of the table now.
Okay. Well, no, I want to cut them open and we'll move the laptops because when you cut the Louisiana one, you're going to have drippings, right?
Yes,
There's going to be a lot of juice. When you cut the California one, there won't be any juice. It'll just be like this white on the inside.
That's right.
It'll be huge.
It'll be like a thin layer of red.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
So, no, you don't have to sell me on Louisiana strawberries. That's born and raised.
And Louisiana pecans.
Now is
the time you got to get those pecans.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, because if I think April 14th is Pecan Day.
Yeah.
Celebration of pecans. But Minsky pecans, Bajaron pecans, all those, they're just so delicious. And this week I was with Chef Jeremy, and we're at Homer's house. Homer's house, cooking up all things with pecans. And look, he used now his mother's praline recipe. Now and simple.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this and gosh, this is simple. Even I might be able to do that, right? But then he took some duck breast and he split the skin. He seared it, and he took pecans with just a brown sugar, cooked down brown sugar, and put that on top of the duck breast and set that on top of he called it sweet mash, and what it is, it's mashed potatoes. And you talk about good. And put a few vegetables around it. We are ready to go.
That's too much. That's ridiculous.
It is. It is. I'm learning a lot from Chef Jeremy, but
he's a friend of the station.
Yeah,
he's been around a good bit.
But for some reason, when I try, I got to go back and eat his stuff.
Well, of course. There's a reason he does what he does. We're going to break real quick. Let's check your money now. We will check traffic one more time. Ag Commissioner Mike Strain going to stay with us for 10 more minutes before we hand off to Moon Griffon, who's up next. It's 8:50 at Talk 107.3.
Can we give Moon a hard time? I love giving Moon a hard time.
Always.
Yeah, because he gives me a hard time. I'll give him a hard time.
Yeah. We had him on when we first launched the station. And I don't know what the problem. I don't know. And I'm not going to go retrace the steps to find out. But it wasn't working. Yeah. And I don't know if we weren't all rolling because he's in Lafayette and we're here.
Yep.
But so
it was in Monroe.
Yeah, originally. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a ways
from Plaquemine. He's from Plaquemine.
Really?
Played ball at Redemptorist. Before going to UL Monroe. But it wasn't working out, and we let him go. We cut the show out of the lineup, went a different direction, and have struggled. We weren't pushing him. We weren't all on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were making some changes to the lineup and whatnot, we had the opportunity, and Gordy was like, "You want to bring Moon back?" And I'm like, "Yes, yes, absolutely." Because I know he and we will row in the same direction.
Yeah,
we can get a little bit of forward momentum. And this Tuesday, we did a town hall meeting over at City Club, doing just a little panel. Me and Moon just chopping it up about the governor's race and the candidates in the governor's race. And I mean, we had like 24 people there. It wasn't a big thing.
Yeah.
But oh my God, the vibe between the two of us going back and forth, like it was a show. It was a show, and it was really like we play together well.
Good.
So
Good.
I'm like super pumped this time around.
Good. Yeah, he's got some energy.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. He and the thing is, all the people that he has nicknames for, they come on my show all the time, and they're like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "What? It's both of us, baby. This is where it's at now. If he says anything to piss you off, you come to me. Okay?
There you go.
There you go. We'll just keep the ball rolling down the field."
Yeah, that governor's race is going to be interesting. They always are, though.
Yeah.
They always are.
And we are still on Facebook.
Yeah.
Wagasback's going to shake things up. Here's the thing, though. Richard Nelson's going to shake things up.
Yeah.
That guy's a soundbite monster. That guy, before I made the prediction at the town hall we did the other day, I made the prediction before his career is over with, Richard Nelson will surpass John Kennedy as the greatest soundbite man in the history of Louisiana.
Yeah, and Richard's young. I think he's
36.
36.
36. His biggest problem right now, though, you got 3 people running from St. Tammany Parish.
Yeah, I know.
He's got no home base.
I was 39 when I walked in the legislature.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I'm 64. What happened? the other day, they're looking up a piece of legislation from the year 2000, right? And they type it in, and they go to and watch the video archives. And there was a young, thin me with brown hair. I'm looking at it. And they're all in there laughing. They're laughing, right? They're laughing. So when I'm looking, I said, who is that? Oh, hell, that's me. Yeah. No wonder I remember that legislation, right? It was my bill.
So good. It's 2000. That's 10 years ago, right? Nope.
No.
Nope.
No.
In my head, it is.
No. But it's amazing. All that's on archives. You can look it up now.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little grainy, but it's there. Now it's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, and you go back and actually listen to the testimony, which sometimes is very important. Very important to listen to. You're right.
On the floor or in committee?
Both, yeah. It's also important that when the session's over, that you go back in the law books and read those bills you passed to make sure the wording is exact.
The way it was when it was presented.
Exact wording, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because little differences make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because once you pass legislation, you own it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, forever.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Trying to set up if we want to go back to the bees because we kind of touched on it a little bit, but we moved on to strawberries. When's the Strawberry Fest?
Let me see. I know it's coming up. Let's look at that.
April 14th through 16th.
Yep. You're not going to be here? That's always fun. Oh, the parade. Oh, my gosh. You talk
that
about
parade is insane.
it. Is. It's the Saturday, and it is just unbelievable. There's 100,000 people on the route.
I know. And those roads aren't built for 100,000 people where it goes. Some of them.
No.
Yeah, I gotta. Well, I've only got a thing on Saturday night. I could probably make it down there.
Yeah.
I'm doing. I'm part of a ministry at my church.
Mm-hmm.
There's a retreat that weekend, and I directed the last Acts retreat, so I'll be taking part in a piece of the next retreat. So.
I gotcha.
But that's actually not too far away. I'll be in Robert.
Oh, yeah, you're close.
Yeah. 2 exits up. Did he? You know there's no traffic out there when Taylor is.
I was surprised to hear him this morning. I would have thought he would have been.
I was shocked he didn't peace out on Wednesday. I thought Wednesday was going to be his last day.
Also, I'm doing traffic.
Whatever. Gotcha. $8:56 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Last segment to go here on Mornings with Brian Haldane before handing off to Moon Griffon. Chuck, did Taylor say hitched?
He did say hitched.
He said hitched.
I love how he was just talking about his wedding and his honeymoon to Aruba during the traffic report.
Right? That's there's a lot going on in the streets when Taylor can cruise and trip to Aruba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we paying him too much too?
Well, that was an off-air comment, but okay. We got a couple minutes left with Ag Commissioner Mike Strain, and very generous with his time.
Well, you told me you were going to trade those Taylor Swift tickets for a vial of honey, right?
Yeah, no, that's how we're doing it.
That's how we're doing it.
Yeah,
right?
we're doing that. That's
Okay.
Is that the street value of honey right now? You can trade it for. I thought that was eggs.
That's
I'm
eggs.
confused.
That's right.
Like we said, we covered a
Two
million
eggs.
different topics. Two eggs per ticket. Tay-Tay's got it going on. The Beekeepers Association hosting a training event this weekend.
Yes, it's wonderful. I'm going to be in Bunkie tomorrow, and it starts, really about 8 o'clock. And so it's beekeepers for beginners, but also for advanced. So there's going to be 3 levels, so 3 different sessions, one after the other.
Mm-hmm.
And so beekeeping, where to start, the equipment you need, your basics, hives and frames, talking about, all the different entities and extracting and bottling honey. The second level, a little more advanced, honeybee biology, behavior, morphology. We bring our bee suits. You need to bring your bee suit because we're going to be looking at, live bees and looking at queens and looking at all the different managements. And then the third level is proper timing for feeding them, wax rendering, demonstrations, talking and raising and re-raising of queens. And raising queens is a big deal. It's a big deal.
We were talking about before we went on air.
You talk about the average nuke. We call them nukes, which is a colony of bees.
Okay.
Those, generally speaking, if you buy them in bulk, run about $200 to $250 per nuke, which means, about 6 frames of bees with a queen. Queens, on average, run about $50+ per queen. And you need to change your queens out about every 3 years. So all that's big. But wait.
It's amazing.
But honey, the average hive will generate 50 to 70 pounds of honey per year. Pounds.
Okay, do you have a price on that?
Yes, it's generally about $10 a pound.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You lost me when you said feed the bees because I just thought they went out and fed themselves.
No, well, they do, but I supplement my bees.
Uh-huh.
I use a commercial bee food that I get from Man Lake. It's called, it's Prolix. And so I have special bee feeders, and they got all types. But no, my bees never run. And I give them treats called bee patties.
Yeah.
And they love those. So oftentimes, I'll go out and I'll cut the little squares and I'll put them in front and I'll tell them Uncle Mike's coming, so they love me, right? And I put their treats in front of the hives so they know I'm the good guy. So they smell me and they smell that treat and they know they love me. So that's important.
Best Foodie Friday ever. Ag Commissioner Mike Strain, our guest. He joins us at least once a month. I appreciate your rescheduling as well. I know we had some trouble running into it last time, so thanks for getting on. You'll be back.
I was in D.C. Thank you.
You'll be back on in a couple weeks. Moon Griffon's coming your way next. Have a great weekend.